What's up, y'all? This is Uncle P, and in this video I'm going to go over the situation that happened last week and also information that I think will be necessary for you to know for the up and coming week. Let's get right into it. We're not going to waste any time in this video. This is going to be a pretty short video, so just hang tight and we'll go for the ride. Here we go. So, truth be told, you guys, in this week coming up, I did not see any news events, which is a godsend. I hadn't seen any news events that I personally think it's going to be worth us worrying about putting on the schedule, which is very rare. Normally I find something. I will say this, do your own due diligence, but I did see a couple of news events for the Eurozone as far as inflation rates. And when I say the Eurozone, and I explained this many times before, when you say the Eurozone, it does not mean just London. It means there's a whole small plethora or a bunch or a large group of neighboring countries that are grouped together that makes up the Eurozone, and you can research what those are. So this is the reason why oftentimes, and I've said this many times before, and I'll say it again many times, that oftentimes you will see the Eurozone, the Europe coming out with a news event, but it'll be repeated over and over again. Well, the reason why it's repeated over and over again is because it may be for London, but then it may be for another country that's outside of it, which is part of the Eurozone itself. So therefore, I really didn't see a whole lot of news that I would be worried about this week. However, there's something very important that I'm keeping an eye on, and that is banking news. Let me give you guys a little quick snippet on what is very important, and let me kind of zoom my head in so I can kind of talk to you guys a bit. Okay, so here's the deal. What has been really rocking these markets over the last couple of weeks? Of course, people heard about the SVB bank and so forth and stuff like that, but the biggest issue is that many more banks, I think Credit Suisse, which is a huge bank, had to get bailed out. I think it was Credit Suisse or one of those, had to get, or Deutsche Bank or one of those, which is huge, a huge bank, was in trouble. Let me kind of explain to you guys really quickly exactly what is going on, why the banks are in trouble in the first place, so you'll make a decision for you and your family on exactly what you should do with your own assets. Okay, so here's the deal. What happens is back in the day, I used to own a lot of rental property, okay? And on paper, you could be worth a couple of $1 million, okay, on paper. But if you was to ask me to give you $1 million today, could I do it? No. Why? Because I am worth that amount, but it's tied up in assets called real estate, apartments, condos, townhomes, so forth, and land. Okay, so on paper I can be worth multiple millions of dollars, but that doesn't mean I have it on hand to give you today. Okay, so what I would have to do if I needed to become a tangible, have the money in hand multimillionaire, what I would have to do is liquidate my properties, which means put them up for sale, get the cash from it, and then put it somewhere and store it. Now I'm still worth millions of dollars, but now I can say I'm worth millions of tangible means touchable dollars. Okay, so the difference between one is, do you have it immediately available, and the other one is I have it, but it's tied up in assets, meaning real estate or some other, loans or something that's bearing interest, bonds, car loans, whatever the banks do with the money that you do. You give them your deposited money and they don't keep it on hand, tangible. They put it out, and actually that's how you get car loans. You put money into your bank, but then at the same time, the money you put in for your savings, it's not enough to go get a car loan. So guess what? You go back to your same bank and apply for a car loan. Now you're paying interest on part of the money that you actually gave them. Isn't that crazy how that works? But that's the way it works. Okay, so here's the point. The point is that, and you'll hear this term, run on the banks. Run on the banks means everybody gets panicky and scared and they want their money when? Now, going back to the example I gave you, I can own multiple millions of dollars worth of real estate. So on paper, I am a multi-millionaire, but I just can't. If I needed to give it to you today, I just could not do it. Why? Because it takes time for me to unload the asset to which my money is tied up to actually free that cash up and have it on hand. So the banks, they have about 90% of their money tied up in assets, loans, car loans, housing loans, government bonds, treasury, this, that, and the other. They have it, quote unquote, diversified. You hear that term all the time, diversify your portfolio. Well, they took your money and $9 trillion worth of working class people's deposits, and they diversified who? Your portfolio? No, their portfolio. Because all that money is just sitting there doing nothing. You gave it to them. You said you don't need it right now. So they put that money to work to gain interest while they're charging you interest on the account that you're holding. Because if you don't have like a $5,000 account or whatever the account limit is, they charge you a monthly fee to have an account with them. Isn't that crazy? On the money that you given to them to use to flip. This is crazy. This is gangster 500 101, okay? So you put in a deposit, they charge you a monthly fee if it don't match a certain limit, but then they take the money you gave and they go out there and start trying to flip it and turn a profit off the money you gave them. And they're charging you a fee to just be nice enough to hold your money for them, when they should be bearing interest and giving you money. That's not how it works, though, but that's a different story. Let me keep this moving. So the point is that now that everybody wants their money, people are panicking. They say, hey, we want my money now. So they go to the ATM saying, hey, I need to pull my money out. So if you get enough people doing that all at one given time, remember what I told you. The money is there. They have it. But guess what? They don't have it on hand. You know what I'm saying? So now the assets that they were going to liquidate, they would have to liquidate to make that money available to everybody. It's a problem too. You want to know why? Because when the Feds raised all them interest rates extremely high, the value of the assets they were holding the money in went down in value. So now they're selling them at a discount. So they're losing money, while at the same time having no choice but to do it. They have to sell these things to give you your money when you come to the ATM because they didn't have it on hand. So in other words, to make it more plain, you know how housing market has crashed, prices of the housing market gone down? Well, guess what? They had money invested into the real estate market. Now that the real estate market gone down, they was assuming, okay, we're going to make money when people pay their loans. And then on top of that, when the asset of the price of the real estate market goes up in case they don't pay their loan, we can foreclose on it. We can flip it back and make money. This way, we make money hand over fist. And that was a long-term strategy, which typically works. They buy bonds, 30-year bonds, and they buy them at this price, hoping that the interest rate will increase. Well, the problem is when the Feds raised interest rates, it reversed everything, and all these assets started devaluing. They got worse, cheaper. They are losing money on them. So now I'm losing money on these assets to which I have to sell. And on top of that, I got to hurry up and come up with some cash to give it to you at the ATM. And not just you, but now everybody who's panicking all at one time. And everybody wants their money. And I don't have enough time to liquidate all these assets to get enough money. And now you can see which caused banks to collapse. So I'm not worried about big news events from interest rate news, which, a lot of them came out last week, including the Feds coming out with interest rate decisions. None of that's happening this week, but I do want to warn you to be very, very careful when you're trading, because any one of these news events concerning banks can pop out again because they're just dropping like flies. Once that happens, you'll see all this turbulence in the market, which is partially what caused last week's turbulence. Okay, there was a large amount of turbulence happening in the markets last week because of these situations, and it's not resolved. So team, please make absolutely sure when you're trading this week that you're aware of that information. Now, one more thing and we're done. Over here, I want to show you what happened, and I'm going to shrink my head and get myself out of the way. So guys, here's where it's gotten good. Remember I told you the first month in January, if you ever traded in the market, you better learn this now. Whenever you trade the first year in the markets, especially when there's bad stuff going on, which this first new year in the markets was one of the worst starts to a new year in history. Okay, in history. And therefore it reflected in our trading. We survived. We came out better off than we did. And in the live session, which is where you can trade live twice a week in our live session, we still walked away with almost 48,000 pips. But as far as the alerts and the signal side, it was rough. It was rough. So we had 34 and 20. But now look at February. Here we go. 44 and 11. And then in the live sessions, an additional 32,600 pips. So between this month and this month, you're already at what, 79,000 pips? And then you have this right here. So that's 34, and that's what, 78 wins and only 31 losses, right? So we still was cruising. We did better on this month than the prior month. But now look at this month. 54 wins, only 17 losses for the entire month. And look at how many pips in the month, 1 month alone, which this month was equivalent to basically adding these 2 months together. So do you see how the market tends to, even with all the turbulent news, the market itself, you can still find your footing and your groove as the months go on, which means these months will chances are going to be a lot better. We're very transparent so that you never have to figure out, oh, hey, I want to know what your results look like. What are you guys actually doing in your signal group? Are you guys successful with your signals? Are you not? How do I get to know? Well, it's very simple, because we provide the spreadsheet, and every week we're posting, so you'll see exactly what's going on. For an example, you'll see right here, they did on the first week of this month, 10,500 pips. Second week was killing it, 26,006. Third week, 26.5, and then this last week was only 7,200, which is still great. But why is it such a low number? Because of the turbulence in the market and the Fed announcement. So therefore, you have to trade carefully, because during the Fed announcement week, I tell you guys all the time, that market is going to be going crazy, and you've seen it for yourself. Okay, you've seen it. It was terrible. But combined together for the month, you had 70,000 pips for a month. In 1 month. Who ever heard of that? Right? And then on top of this is one section where you're trading live, with Miss Six Figure Jenny. But then on top of that, we have 54 wins and only 17 losses for the month. That is amazing. That's freaking amazing. I don't know if anybody else was doing that, but do what you do. But here's the deal. If you ever want to join our signal service, our alert service is right here. All you have to do is click right here. This is our homepage, which, by the way, somebody sent an email and said, well, what's the difference between the simplicity system and so forth? Well, if you want to trade on your own and you want to use this system, which you see on the screen, which is our simplicity system, and you still want to come to classes, this is what it's for. But you'll basically be trading on your own, okay? But you will be able to attend class with me in a general session, and also an evening class with Miss Jenny in a general session, and we'll be going over this particular trading system. But if you are the person who wants to get training plus alerts so that you can earn while you learn, then you want to click on this part of our website, which is join the Signal Trade Ideas group. And once you click there, you'll be able to gather information on exactly what's going on and so forth and so forth. All the information you need is right here. But what's cool about this is because right here, when you click on this tab, that's what's going to take you to this spreadsheet, so that any given time you can always check the results and voila to the lot. See, it's right there, updated every weekend, so that you guys will be able to instantly see exactly what we are doing in our group, and so that we're very transparent. You'll know very well, straight up front, exactly what we've been doing for each month that's going by. And as I said, you can clearly see every month that's going by, it's getting better and better and better. That's because the markets are settling. Even with turbulence, they're still getting back into a normal flow. So I'm anticipating a much better month constantly going forward, and we got plenty of months still left. This is only 3 months worth of data, and you can see we're still killing the markets. Okay, so it's always right here. If you want to join, you click right here. Once you join, just click this tab right here. Go back to this page, click right here, and click on the login button, and just go through the tutorials, and you'll have access to everything. Okay, all right, you guys. So if you are wanting to join us, feel free to do so, and we'd be happy to send you alerts. And we do send the alerts via our private Telegram channel, but all this will be explained in the tutorial steps, along with the links and how to join and all those different things. Okay, you guys. So anyway, have a great weekend, and I look forward to a happy, good trading week coming up, and hope to see you part of the group. Okay, have a good one.